Hi and welcome to the next lecture. Here we're going to make our branches that we're going to stick onto our trees. We're going to attach to our trees, and you can see I've already created the two planes for our maps that we've rendered, and I've already divided it up. You know how to do this because I've done it in a previous lecture, so it's pretty straightforward. Now we're going to split them off into branches, and then in the next lecture we're going to sort of decorate our tree with them. Here we go. I'm going to do the first one like this, and I'm going to do a few here because you've already seen me do it, and then I'm going to put it on fast forward so you can see me do the rest of them. But it's the same techniques we used before, exactly the same for our grass that we did. Rendered our grass, we put it on a sheet, and we're now pulling off the polygons for each of our pieces. Really straightforward. There's the 3 from that one, and now for this one I'll put it on fast forward so you can watch. Okay, so a couple of things to remember. Don't forget to preserve your UVs when you're pulling around vertices, otherwise your UVs will move all over the place. I mean, it's not the most accurate system in the world, but it does retain them quite well, so make sure you do that. You've done this before. If this is boring for you, just fast forward. You don't really need to watch. You get the idea, but I want to supply you with the video just so you can see my process. I won't do this again. You have to do this for all the other trees that you want to put into your scene. And I might give you an overview of all the ones I've done and different things, but I'm going to be using the exact same technique for all the trees. So you need to also, I'm giving you all the tools here to build your objects. It's up to you to actually go ahead and do them, although I will be supplying mine at the end. So but you really should go ahead and do them. Some this part of the process can be a bit monotonous, it's what you get at the end. It's what you get at the when you finish and it's in Unity and you can see your final scene. It looks fantastic, so that's the reward, that's the payoff. So make sure you put the effort in. Don't using somebody else's work it's okay for quick rapid prototyping, but it's not ideal for job satisfaction, artistic freedom, and it's not good for your artistic soul. You need to create your own stuff, using your skills and everything you've learnt. It's so much more rewarding that way. Yeah, at the end of this we're going to give them some shape, bend them and make them look a bit more interesting so they're not just dead flat. And then once it's all done, we'll get them into Unity and check them all on our tree. So that should be a lot of fun. Okay, so now we have them all split off. We're now going to just go in and give them some shape, bend them a little bit, and see if we can use an FFD on that. I've often had trouble with the FFDs on flat planes. So I'm not quite sure if this is going to work, but if it does, you can use an FFD. Oh, and it does. Okay, so just use an FFD to shape them. So it's working in this case, which is pretty cool. Just give them a little bit of shape. If you need to add some more lines, some more verts to enable you to do this, just put the odd split in, but don't overdo it because, like I said, we, these are going to be drawn thousands of times. They're going to get quite expensive, potentially, depending on which shader we use. And I'll go through that once we get it into Unity. I'll go through the shaders, and you've got a couple of different options. You can just put it in as a standard shader, and that will look good, but it'll, you won't be able to get it. You can't have the wind. There's so many variations in Unity. It's a bit too much, really, but it's not standard like other programs. So, okay, so that's the first one. Collapse it all. Yeah, just so we got a bit of shape on it. Let's turn off our edges. Just have a look at that. We've got 3 different IDs here going on. We've got 2 different types of leaves, and we've got the bark that we need to address. So we'll do that in a second once we've done this. So you get the idea. I'm going to now put this on fast forward again, because you've seen me do this before, so you don't have to keep watching me do the same thing over again. Okay, so that's that done. All nicely shaped up now. Got a bit of shape on them. If you want to go in and manually alter, just adjust some, you can. It might be worth just pulling in some of these verts a bit more. It's entirely up to you. There we go. I mean, if you wanted to, you can go and split these and give them a bit of shape if you wanted to. But especially if you're not going to use them that much, it might be worth doing. But I'll leave that entirely up to you. I'm going to leave mine until we've decided what we're going to use them for. I might use them just to scatter on the ground. Maybe do some baby oak trees coming out, because that's kind of what they look like. Use them in higher places, out of the way. Yeah, so okay, so there we go. That is our branches all ready to be applied to our tree. And this is the tree we're going to work on first. Now, applying them to the tree is quite a complex. We can try and use object paint, but in my experience, you don't get a good result. You need to really do it manually, and it does take some time. It's a bit of an art form in itself, making a tree, because you want it to be convincing, because these branches have got to sort of drape down and hang like sort of real branches, and you've got to get it all over nice, even, rounded sort of look. And that's why object paint doesn't quite work for me, but it might be a good starting point, just like we did when we created these branches. We'll check it out. We'll try it and put some on and see how we get on. Okay, so now I'm just going to set up our material for this and the tree. It needs a sub-material on it so that we can apply multiple materials to the same to one object. We've done all this before. So what we're going to do, let's take one of these. We're going to change. Okay, that's in there. So okay, so this leaves a 1. Go up here to your default, and we're going to call this oak tree 01. And we're going to change it from standard to multi sub object there. Keep the old material, yep, keep that. So in our first slot we have this one, which is the we can turn it off and on, which is that one the troublesome one without the alpha for some bizarre reason. Quite handy because now we can see what's using what. So it needs to go back to the root. The second one, we want to use this. So we'll drop that one in there and copy it. Okay, and we want to apply that to this. So we click on Oak Tree 1. That's called the wrong name. We need to change that name to Leaves 01. So go back to Oak Tree 01. Come onto here and call this Leaves 02. And then we're going to apply that to this. Like that. Turn it out. Go back to Oak Tree. So apply this to all of that. In fact, this material. Like that. And then we need to tell which objects are which. So we just have to check the IDs on them. So this is 1. So just check them, the normal ID. Yep, that's right, that's correct. Just check that one. Should be 1 also. Yep, that's correct. This one will be correct because this is the one we kept when we started. So we'll just check them anyway, make sure they're all correct, and that is correct, yes. Okay, so next is O2. So we'll come down here, see this is, so we need to make that 2, like that. We need to make this one 2. But we need to make them all 2. Just select them all, select all the polygons and set that to 2. They should all be good. Okay, so now that's all working. Let's turn on that first one like that. The alpha's still not working. Don't know why, what's happening there, it's so bizarre. You can see it working inside the material editor there. If I turn it on and off, it's just not coming through here, bizarrely. No. Oh well, not to worry, it works anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It's just a weird anomaly with 3D Studio. So we'll go back to Oak Tree 01. This third one is going to be our bark. So we'll click on that and just make it a standard like that. Just we have to make it a color for now because we haven't got material from the bark for it. Just make it an obvious color so we can see that it's changed. Click on the tree, apply it, turn it on. Okay, so the ID on that is all a bit weird. So we need to go and change the ID. We're going to change the material. We're going to call this Oak Tree 01 bark, like that. So if we go back to our material, we can see everything's correct. Okay, so now change all the IDs for the polygons on the tree. Make sure it's all selected. Come down and set the ID to 3, like so. And that is it. So you can see it's red. Okay, so that is, let's just move these. So let's turn off faces here. that. Alright, you can see all our tree is ready to go. It's UV'd, it's got a material on it. All our branches have been built, so we can start applying them. Let's just move these out the way for a minute, like that, because we are going to save this out into a separate folder actually. Once we've applied these, we're going to save it as oak tree again. So we're ready to start applying them. We can just give it a little go here, just see what it looks like. So we're gonna really do it in the next one. Okay, we're gonna be careful of our pivots and make sure our pivots are in the right place. They obviously moved. Effect pivot only. Okay, so it is down there. Just need to move it in, so it's at the base, exactly at the base of where the that's it, where the stem is going to be. Okay, so let's just start with that one. Remember, we want to copy it, don't want to use the actual one. So copy, and make sure it's on copy. We don't want an instance. Okay, so click OK. Let's just put this on the tree somewhere, see what sort of result we get. In the next lecture we will try using the object paint, but like I said, I'm not entirely convinced it's the right way to go, but you know, see that branch there might need to be removed now. Let's just put it on, or we can put some little ones on there, you know, whatever works. So let's just attach this and see how it will get on. There we go, that's on there. Okay, so let's move this out of the way. Let's put it over at the end so we can see. In fact, let's move all of these along a bit, like that. Okay, so there's our first branch on our tree. Not sure if it's in the right place. We have to sort of go through logically and create, and maybe it feels like it needs to be back here a bit perhaps. Because it's quite a big branch, that one. Anyway, like I said, it's going to take a bit of time to do this, to get it right. It's not an easy job by any stretch of the imagination. Imagine them all over the tree now. I mean, it'll look much better than that inside Unity, because we'll have the shader which will cope with it a lot better. So yeah, anyway, that's it for now for this lecture. We will continue with this, painting our branches, in the next lecture, so I'll see you there.